Hi, everyone. Welcome. How are you? I tried to be on time. I swear I did. I'm only 3 minutes late. That's not too bad. So let's begin. I am on a quest, and this is the Quest Show. I think I am currently on my 8th week of being here. Um, being prepared. I have my notes. I have everything. I'm a little late. I didn't have to be late because I've been here. But I had a little problem with an automatic debit. I know no one cares, but it's such a pain when the bank changes, like, whether they want to be with Visa or if they're with the MasterCard, then they send you out a new debit card. And then everything is a mess because you have automatic debits coming out of your account. And like my transit card just said, I got an email saying it was declined. They couldn't take the payment out, and March is coming up. So I was just online trying to figure out how to change my debit information or credit card information, and it just said billing, and billing was only the address. They're changing their systems. Everything is a mess. So that's how my night is going right now. But I am here. We're going to get into it. Just let me send out a link real quick. And I will be, look at that. This is how unprepared I am on today. I'm going to get here. Hold the phone. I am coming. One. Let me get it out. We have a lot of things to talk about too. Okay, here we go. I'm all set right now. All right. There's a lot to talk about this week. A lot has been going on. A lot of things that are highly emotional, pretty intense. So I feel like I'm probably going to do a lot of loud talking. I'm going to try not to. But let's start off with the FBI informant and Republican key witness that was arrested this week. Alexander Smirnoff was arrested for lying to the FBI. So Alexander Smirnoff is an ex FBI informant, but more importantly, he is the Republican key witness, star witness. He's the guy that's got all the goods on Biden and Hunter. He's the guy that knows all about Barista. He knows all about the Ukrainian deals. He knows all about the $5 million, Coma and Jim Jordan's like, this is the man. We got Biden. We're going to impeach Biden. I mean, those of us that are living in the real world knew that it was bogus and that the whole impeachment of Biden was bogus and that they were just looking for something, right? We know this because they've been doing this for quite a long time. So we already knew, like, they got nothing. But, they hung their hat on this guy. Well, let's back up a little bit because it's not the first guy. Because they also had another witness that they were like, this is the guy. This is the guy. This is the witness. He's going to blow it out the water. We're going to have all of the evidence. And that guy was like some type of arms dealer, oil dealer, fugitive running from the law. And they don't even know where he is right now because he's literally running from the law. Right? So that was that witness. And then they had the other witnesses that they actually had the hearing and they talked to, like, I think it was like 2 of Hunter Biden's people that he worked with or something like that. They testify and they're like, well, no, we didn't see anything suspicious. There's nothing there. Yes, Biden called while we were in meetings, but it appeared that he was just calling to see how his son was doing because his other son had passed away. So, right. So then they're like, nope, we have another witness. We have another witness. You'll see. Yeah. Right. Okay. So this guy was just arrested for lying to the FBI. What did he lie about? Hunter and Joe, of course he did. He made it all up, the barista stuff, the $5 million. And not only did we find out that he was lying, we also find out he was a Russian asset. Putin was feeding him the stories. Who knew? I mean, who knew? Is it really a big surprise? It can't be that big a surprise, can it? Can it? Like, you cannot make this stuff up, right? So now you have a guy that's a whole Russian asset that's like, yeah, I didn't like the Bidens. So there's that. Just lying. And this is the guy that Republicans were saying, we have the evidence, right? Because, if you're going to impeach someone, Jesus Christ, it needs to be legitimate, not just because you have the majority in the House, right? Not just because I'm the majority and I get to impeach you, but that's literally what they're doing, because there needs to be, the bar used to be before the crazy caucus came to town, was high crimes and misdemeanors. That was the bar. However, the bar is way down here at this point, as we know, because they impeached Mayorkas in the House, not for a high crime, not for a misdemeanor. It's because, we don't like the way you're dealing with the border, so we're impeaching you. That's what they're doing. It's so stupid. It doesn't even make sense. And they don't care if it makes sense, actually. Like, it's like, me and Brian, we have a show on Tuesdays, the Black and White Show, and we beat ourselves up. Not just me and Brian. It's like me and my friends when we talk politics. It's like we literally beat ourselves in our heads because we don't get what's happening. It's like, to the segment of people that you can literally go, yeah, they don't have anything this time, but he still did something, right? Like, they will still say the evidence is here that this guy's a Russian asset. They will still say Putin's the man and Biden's still the criminal. Although we see that there was nothing there. And not only that, we also found out that they knew. Jim Jordan, Comer, Chuck Grassley, they knew because the document was shown to them by the FBI. And when the FBI showed them the document from this informant, they basically said, this isn't verbatim, but hey, don't take this as factual. It hasn't been verified. Don't take this as factual. It hasn't been verified. We can't confirm any of this information. We're just letting you know. Do not don't share this with anyone, because again, it hasn't been confirmed. What do they do the next day? They get on TV and say, we have a credible source. Biden's going down. There's $5 million that's been exchanged. This is what they do. So, and I don't know, well, earlier today, their plan was to still proceed with this investigation and then a vote on impeachment. I don't know where they are now, but that's where they are. They're pretty stupid. So I'm pretty sure that they will vote to impeach him. And the interesting thing is that the Republicans that are not going to be running again, the ones that have retired, like, by the way, they're running away in droves, right? Because they're just sick of the mess. They're running away. But they're out here saying, yeah, they told us not to take this document as fact, but they ran off. Like, this is Republicans admitting that they knew that this wasn't a fact, but those guys ran off and just let the public know and said that this was absolutely true. So this is where their heads are, right? Like, they will say and they will do anything to get what they want and to remain in power, because that is always the goal. Always the goal. So that's what happened with that. I'm so organized today. Be nice if I had, like, this teleprompter, someone who wrote me a script. Then you wouldn't get all of this in between rambling that you get. Sorry. Also, so as we were talking about this guy Alexander Smirnov being a Russian asset, I mean, Republicans are all Russian assets too. Am I right? They just are. Alexei Navalny was murdered this week by Putin. Why was he murdered? Because he dared to oppose Vladimir Putin. If you don't know, Alexei rose very quickly in Russia as a strong opposition leader to Putin's fascist regime, oppressive regime, right? Alexei Navalny was a lawyer. He was a anti-corruption activist, because, again, that's how Putin operates. He and his oligarch friends, they have all the money. If you're living in Russia, there is no freedom. Despite what Tucker Carlson says, Tucker Carlson went there. He went to interview, if you want to call it an interview, Vladimir Putin. Putin talked for like a couple of hours while Tucker Carlson just sat there and looked stupid and laughed when he thought he was supposed to laugh. He went to the grocery store and boasted about how awesome Russia was and progressive, because it had shopping carts that you put on the little thing that takes them up and down, which is what Target does and a lot of the other grocery stores do. So very weird. Tucker must have not been in the store for a very long time, but he goes there and he's excited about Russia. So in Russia, the people of Russia cannot just watch TV. They can't watch just anything on TV. Putin controls what they watch. All the movies that they get to watch, it's controlled. It's controlled media. The news that they watch is Putin controlled media. So they don't know what's happening in the outside world. The only way that they know what's happening outside of Russia is if, I don't know, maybe I don't know if he can control what these people are streaming too, but I do think that that's how a lot of the young people are able to know what's happening on the outside of Russia, from like maybe YouTube or streaming or something like that. And family members on the outside are able to tell them what's going on, because, Putin runs propaganda TV. That's what he does. It's like, imagine Fox News on every single channel, just every channel, local news. Every PBS is like controlled by Fox. You see Sean Hannity on Sesame Street or something. Like, it's just controlled. Everything is controlled by like a Fox News source. That's how Putin runs Russia. And Alexei Navalny wanted better for his country. He wanted his country to be up from underneath the thumb and rule of Vladimir Putin, who is a very rich man, and he's very corrupt. He is a war criminal, and he kills anyone who opposes him. He throws them out windows. He poisons them. He had actually poisoned Alexei I can't remember when he did, but he almost killed him. He had to be flown from Russia, I believe, to Germany, and it took months for him to get better. I think he was in a coma. You know, Putin tried to kill him. He was outside of Russia. What does he do? He goes back into Russia to continue fighting for his country. He knew what that meant when he went back, but that's what people do who truly believe in what they're fighting for. That's what they do. And then you have shithead Trump, who doesn't say anything at all. Days go by. He silent, right? Because he can't. Because he cannot say anything against Putin. Putin pays the bills. Let's be real. Putin pays the bills. Okay. So you can't say anything bad against Putin. So he finally comes out and says something about Alexei Navalny. Something like, yeah, he's a nice guy. He compared himself to him because, Trump is being persecuted. And, again, he compared himself to Alexei Navalny. Trump has never fought for anything in his life. He's never had a cause other than himself. He has never served anyone in his life. He has cheated his entire life, right? He inherited a fortune from his dad. He blew it all. He filed for bankruptcy. Like, how do you lose money in casinos? But he did. Then he had Trump University, where he scammed students out of. He was sued in housing discrimination. Like, he cheats on his taxes. He cheats in his business dealings. Like, not a little cheat, just a lot cheat. And he's done that for decades. And he has a nerve to compare himself to a man who gave his life for something that he believed in. And that's what Trump does. He tries to ride on the backs of heroes. Nelson Mandela, he did the same thing. He compared himself to Nelson Mandela. He compares himself to Martin Luther King. Like, it's just really disgusting. But that did happen this week. Alexei's wife is going to take up the cause, and she's going to continue fighting, but she's not going to do that in Russia. I don't know. I believe she's in America because her children go to school in America. So she's going to continue the fight outside of Russia, which is good for her because it would not be safe for her to be in Russia. Alexei's mother is trying to get his body. I believe she was able, not even I believe, she was able to view the body finally, because I think she's been asking for a couple of days. She was finally able to view his body. I believe there's a video, and from the video, I didn't see it, but what I gather and what was interpreted on the news is that she said that Russia is trying to blackmail her because they want her to bury Alexei's body somewhere where nobody knows. Take the body, bury it quietly, and go the fuck away. And they want her to do that because they don't want him to be a martyr. Because if there's a marker, if people know where he's buried, then they will continue to show up there. They will drop flowers. They will drop whatever. And that's not what Putin wants. Putin, I think elections are coming up. I mean, he's going to win. I don't even know why he bothers to have the elections. But like, that's how you know a dude is weak, right? That's how you know. When you're out here killing off opposition, that means you are a weak little person, that you are so small that you can't, the thought of competition, like, oh my God, competition, is like you have to kill them. Like, you're that sick with the power that you can't be like, you know what? I've already ruled for 200 years. Let's let someone else do it. Like, he can't do that. He needs to have total control. That is what Donald Trump wants. We'll get back to that. So hold it right there. That's what Donald Trump wants. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Wow, we already talked about Tucker. To talk about Republicans, I thought I talked about this last week. How Republicans are holding Putin's bathwater, like they're just running his bathwater and praising him, and got a faction of Americans very confused with who Putin really is, because he's just not the nice guy. He has never been the nice guy. People need to start reading. Again, this man controls. Interesting story. This family went to Russia because they live in Canada, and they're like, ugh, Canada is too woke. Canada is allowing the LGBTQ community to do all of these things. And we want to move. So they took the kids out of school, they sold their farm, and they moved to Russia. They don't like Russia. They don't like Russia because they moved there, put their money from the sale of their farm into the bank, and Putin seized their money because I guess they, I don't know, broke some rules about how much money should be in your accounts and how you prove that it's your money and where did you get the money. So now their money is frozen. It's like, and now they're in Russia and they're like, yeah, it's not like I thought it would be. Right. Of course it's not. Like, you picked up and moved because why? You heard people praising Putin and how great Russia is. How the hell can Russia be that great? Are you crazy? What? Migrants, they're not going to Russia. Who's going on vacation to Russia? No one is going on vacation to Russia. Migrants aren't trying to go and get to Russia because it's so great. No one is trying to go to Russia for a reason. So who would pick up and be like, that's the place I'm going to be? Oh my God. All right, next. Trump was hit with it's so this is what happens to me when I read this stuff. Again, because I do a podcast on Tuesdays with Brian, the Black and White Show, going over there and watch our shows. When I start reading this, I'm like, did I talk about this already on this show or was his show? I don't think I've talked about it here. So Trump was hit with a $355 million fine for fraudulently handling his businesses in the New York civil fraud trial. $355 million for inflating the value of his properties and other assets. Apparently, he inflated his net worth by billions of dollars. Like, I saw on one document, like, okay, Trump supporters and Trump, his defense is like, nobody was hurt. What's the problem, right? Like, no one has to have a gunshot wound for there to be a crime. You can't let companies and business people inflate their assets, and you can't have them inflate their assets for certain benefits and then deflate their assets for other businesses. If one person does it and then everyone does it, you'll just have a mess and everyone's defrauding insurance companies and everything else. Meanwhile, regular people who depend on loans from banks, getting our mortgages from banks, credit cards, those things, we will pay the price because they will put their losses end up coming to us. We swallow the losses, not the rich people. We do. Trump was like making his, if he raise the value of his properties by like 3% or 5%, maybe nobody would notice. But this dude was like 400 times what the property is worth. 400 times? Like, come on. And this is like for a decade. So he didn't even do it like, yeah, let me do it for a few years, get what I can. But he's greedy. He thought it was invincible. This is how privileged people think. He just kept on going. Now it's the end of the line. Now you have to pay these fines. How is anyone supporting this? But they do. They're right now. His GoFundMe page, it's gone over what they even asked for. Because these crazy MAGAs think it's them. You're attacking him. It's like, do you really think like the whole world is just attacking one man because his name is Trump? Like, nobody fucking cares about Trump. Nobody would have even thought about Trump until he became president and started running his mouth, and then his shit was out in the open. And then you're like, wait, what did he just say? Let me dig deeper into what's going on here. That's why if he just shut his goddamn mouth and was just silent and maybe didn't stop doing the crime but he continued to do the crime and then he did an insurrection and he did some rape. Like, yeah. But MAGA, apparently they're giving to his GoFundMe. Meanwhile, the RNC is broke. Like, it's so insane, right? It's like they're giving all the money straight to, he doesn't, well, I was going to say, he really doesn't even need to run for president. These people will fund his lifestyle. They would just give him all of their money. They would just give it to him. And they don't have the money to give, but they're giving it to him because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel like they are a part of Trump. And he's in the background going, fucking suckers. He's like, fucking suckers. How much did we rack in this month? Do it again. Do another GoFundMe. Guess what? There's going to be another one too. They're going to keep doing them because they're like, shit, this grift worked. They didn't even think that they would get this amount of money. And because they got this amount of money, they're going to do it again. They didn't even know that this would work. Y'all MAGAs are crazy. But they got a nerve to complain about gas and eggs. You can't complain about nothing when you're giving this MAGA dude money for legal fees. Y'all are nuts. He ain't rape her. He stuck his finger in her vagina. That ain't rape. Here, where's my wallet? Y'all crazy. Yeah, y'all are really crazy. So he's got to pay $355 million in fine. Eric and Junior have to pay $4 million a piece. What's that guy's name? Weisselberg, whatever. The guy that went to Rikers for Trump. And the guy that Trump paid $2 million to be quiet and just take the hit, go to jail for him. Yeah, he's got to pay $1 million. So in essence, he only got $1 million for like going to Rikers. Like, oh my God, what these people it's so crazy. You got this guy, you got Rudy Giuliani. You got to pay whatever he's got to pay to Rudy and Lady Ruby and Shamos. You have my pillow guy has got to pay out money for lying. You have all these attorneys that are in trouble for the big lie. But then you still have people lined up again to work for Trump. It's like his whole administration was under investigation, but you got Tim Scott and Brian Donaldson like me, pick me. Yeah. I don't know. Wow, what time is it? 8:33? Moving right along, guys. This is really good. All right, sneaker convention. Trump launches the grifts of all grifts. I don't even want to call them sneakers. Gold shoes with a T for treason on them and like an American flag. And the gold looks like it's like spray painted gold on them. Gaudy gold sneakers. He went to SneakerCon in Philly. He was booed because what are those? Of course you were booed. What is this? My grandson's like, yeah, even if I like Donald Trump, I would not wear those. And he's 10. Nope. No one's wearing those. Well, his MAGA supporters would. So anyway, you can pre-order the sneakers. They are $399. They are called the Never Surrender High Tops. They are like Air Force One knockoffs. They have some red lace. So I guess there is a whole shoe line. So there's this gold shoe, Never Surrender High Top. Then they have a red laceless shoe. And then they have a white laceless shoe. Also, with the purchase of the shoe, you get extra laces and a charm. Oh, for $3.99, you get an extra pair of like 25-cent laces and a charm that was probably made in China. So because I was a little, well, if you want to buy these sneakers, if you're dumb enough to buy these sneakers, here you go, gettrumpsneakers.com. If you're not dumb enough to buy the sneakers, but you just kind of want to go on the site and check it out and laugh hysterically, the website is gettrumpsneakers.com. So I did a little digging. The site is run by a company, CIC Ventures LLC. So the sneakers are not, according to the website, a little fine print, they're not manufactured by Trump. They're not designed by Donald Trump, and that they're not distributed by Donald Trump, per Donald Trump. However, the site is run by CIC Ventures LLC, and according to them, it's a trademark deal. So it's just a licensing deal. So CIC Ventures LLC are the ones that are manufacturing, distributing, and designing these sneakers. My good friend DA told me that the inside of sneakers has made in China, he saw. I haven't seen that yet, but I thought that they would be made in China anyway. Like, where else are they going to be made in America? Why would Trump do that? He doesn't make anything in America. Anyway, but the interesting thing about CIC Ventures LLC is that Trump reported owning CIC Ventures in his 2023 disclosures. Somebody explain that to me. So Trump is saying that he is just in a licensing deal with CIC Ventures LLC, that he is not making these, he is not designing these, he is not distributing these sneakers. It's CIC Ventures that's doing all of that. But on his disclosures last year, he said that he owned CIC Ventures LLC. I don't know. It just seems like somebody needs to be checking this out. Like, is he trying to hide like revenue that he's getting from these sneakers or something from some settlements? Like, someone needs to check it out because someone's lying. Maybe nobody cares, right? Maybe it's just Trump. So this is just the expectation right now. And that's the danger when you're dealing with someone like Trump. There is a constant barrage of just stuff, things that are just not right, things that are illegal, things that go up to the line of being illegal. There's just so much that is just really hard to keep track and combat it. I mean, it's just like, with this administration, people be like, he needs to focus on Israel. He needs a ceasefire. Biden needs to do this. Then it's like, no, Biden needs to put the abortion ban's front and center. That's what he needs to do. Then it's like, boom. No, he doesn't. Biden needs to put the border. It's like, it's just so much swirling around. And it's like, I can't imagine trying to manage it all, because even talking about all of this is just, it makes me anxious sometimes, because it's just so much. So oftentimes when you don't see me on, it's just like, I need my head to clear. Like on the weekends, I really try to stay away from all of this news, Trump, what's going on, court cases, because you just need to clean out your mental. You need some mental hygiene, and this stuff, a constant 24/7 feed of it can really drive you crazy. So that's what's going on with that, Grift. Oh, I forgot to say. Also, apparently on Fox News, one of the contributors believe that, the blacks would love these sneakers because they like sneakers, the inner city and all. They like sneakers, so they will eat this up, because one thing Trump is, he knows the culture and he knows how to sell and connect to the culture. So, dear Fox News, that's racist. Dear Fox News, black folks aren't buying these ugly ass sneakers. The end. Okay. Remember last week we talked about the measles? And I said, listen, if you're not vaccinating your kids, you might as well be not bathing them. Well, 6 cases of measles confirmed in Florida. They have a whole measles outbreak in the school. Manatee Bay Elementary School. Friday was the first case. Yeah. They didn't close the school down, nothing. There's 3 other cases on Saturday, because they left the school open on Friday. So, the kid probably already spread it, or it was already being spread. So 1 case confirmed Friday, 3 other cases on Saturday, 1 on Monday, because school was open. Because they said, oh, no, we can leave the school. So they opened the school. They opened the school on Monday after the 4 cases over the weekend. They opened the school on Monday. Then there was another case on Monday. And then they kept the school open on Monday. Then there was another case on Tuesday. Good old Florida. Where you go to get the measles? Kids need an excuse not to go to school. Kids go to Florida to get the measles. Like, I'm laughing about this, but this is bad. This is bad. People can lose their hearing from getting the measles. Measles is not a joke. That's why we had vaccinations as kids. That's why kids need to be vaccinated for measles. And what's that other one? Measles, mumps, and rubella, or something like that. Like, your kids should be vaccinated. They need these vaccinations. Measles was gone from America. We didn't have it here. Now, because people will not vaccinate their kids, there's an uptick. We're almost at 200 cases since 2023. That's pretty bad. So let's see. We have some numbers for you. So the U.S. rate of vaccinations has declined. So this may sound high, but it really isn't high. So Florida's statewide measles vaccine is 91%. That sounds high. It literally should be 100%, because everyone should be vaccinated for measles, but it's not. It's 91%. 95% is the threshold for herd immunity, right? So when we have 95% of the population vaccinated for measles, then we have herd immunity, and we don't have it floating around in our communities. But as you can see, it's at 91%. So it's steadily declining, and the more the more the less measles vaccinations there are, the more cases we're going to get. So that's going to continue. Again, measles is nothing to play with. So I don't know why anti-vaxxers are out here. I mean, there have always been some anti-vaxxers, but it really started to get bad with COVID and with, you know, these Republicans spreading lies about vaccines. And it's like, it's so insidious because what did they have to gain at that point, right? Was it an election year? Like, what was going on? Why were they out here telling people not to get vaccinated? That was while they were actually vaccinated. Hey, Brian, it was insane. Like, they were actually vaccinated. I recall when we finally got vaccinations for COVID. I remember Florida. I remember Ron DeSantis had a whole party with his rich friends where they were doing vaccines. It's like, when people have like tattoo parties, he was having a vaccine party. Everyone's at his mansion getting vaccinated. And then all of a sudden he's telling y'all vaccines bad. Marjorie Taylor Greene, guarantee you she's vaccinated, and so are her children. We saw pictures of Marjorie in the airport with her mask on. So what she's doing for y'all is for show. And y'all are the ones out here catching freaking measles, mumps, and whatever else is out there. Polio. What's wrong with y'all? Come on. That's nasty. That is really nasty. Do your kids a favor. Like, if it's not for you, do it for your kids. Or you know what? Go to your own school. Homeschool your kids. Just be like, y'all are vaccinated. I don't want my kids to go to school with vaccinated kids, and keep your kids home. That way our kids are safe. How about that? So, yeah, that happened. 6 cases of measles confirmed in a Florida school. That is insane. I bet the school's still open. And they got that Surgeon General out there probably said, no big deal. No worries, everybody. We got it under control. It's under control. False alarm. Oh my God. All right. So we have laughed about some things, and now it's time for us to get a little serious here. Let's move on to the next things. All right. Hey, newsflash. Embryos are babies. First, it was the fetuses are babies, and now it's embryos are babies. Embryos have personhood, according to Alabama. Kay Ivey, she's happy, y'all. Kay Ivey did it. She did it. Y'all may not have sewage systems. You may have sewage backing up into your sinks, backing up into your toilets. Y'all may have to use the bathroom outside because your toilets don't flush. Kay Ivey got y'all, because at least your embryos are children. That's right, folks. Brought to you by Alabama. Last in education, last in healthcare, last in jobs, maternal mortality, first in that. It's out here making laws. That's the state that you want to be setting precedents, right? That is the state, Alabama. Hey, I'm not dissing Alabama. I'm from Alabama. Mount Vernon, Alabama. That's where I'm from, right? Thank God my mom got us out of there when we were young. Thank God. She went back, but she was older and retired. But thank God, because Alabama is a mess. So let's talk about what's going on in Alabama. Let's just do it. So the Alabama Supreme Court has ruled that frozen embryos are people too. They have been given personhood. So someone can be held liable for destroying a frozen embryo. Why is this an issue? I mean, I know you've heard it because it's been on TV for the past couple of days. I think the ruling was yesterday. Um, IVF is going to be impacted, and this is the sad thing about this, right? I feel for these families because if you're having trouble conceiving, you just want a baby. Like you dream it. You talk about it. When you see other people with babies, you crave it. And science has gotten so far that they've come up with IVF, right? Where you can actually take an egg and take sperm and fertilize it outside and keep it frozen. And then you can get the mom, the incubator, the uterus, get all that ready and transfer that. Or women who can't carry it, it could be transferred to someone who's carrying your baby for you. Like you take your egg and your husband's sperm and you have a surrogate, right? This is like the wonders of science. And now all of that is threatened, just on hold. Like women were scheduled to have these procedures and got phone calls from their doctors saying, we can't do it right now. We have to put it on hold because we don't want to do anything that will make us liable, right? So what's the issue here? When you are doing the IVF, you're doing enough embryos. You're not doing one embryo. Let's put it that way, right? You're creating multiple embryos. You're not going to just do one because if you do multiple embryos, the woman has a better chance of becoming pregnant. So what happens if it takes with the first embryo or the second and you had 8 embryos? What do you do with the rest of the embryos? That right there is what Alabama is saying. Alabama's like, you can't dispose of those embryos. Those are children that are living in frozen containers. Those are children. So you can't throw them away. Or we're going to charge you with murder. This is freaking batty. It makes no sense. And it's like the people who are deciding, half of them are just fucking stupid and really don't understand. And the other half, they don't care. Like, it's dumb. And their fucking quest to make people have babies, like, we need all these embryos. We need them. Like, what the fuck do they think? We're just going to be implanting in anybody? Like, what the fuck are they thinking right now? It doesn't even make sense. By you doing this, that's less babies. Tens of thousands of women have in vitro fertilization a year. Now you're not going to have that. Alabama is not going to be the first state. This is what they want. This is the beginning. This is why you cannot sleep on these elections. I heard a man today talking about, I don't like the way Biden is handling Israel. That's valid and that is fair. You can have real emotions about how this administration is handling whatever issues. That's fair. But I'd be damned if I would sit back talking about, well, you know what? I think we just need to suffer. Well, we're going to punish the Democrats and it's okay to suffer for the 4 years and come out the other side. That is what this man said. It is okay to suffer and we'll come out on the other side in 4 years. No, the fuck you won't, because Donald Trump is not having a 4-year pregnancy. Where have you been? Get your ass out of Israel and come back here to America for a minute and understand what is happening here, because what is happening here is very real. and is impacting people. Just because you're a middle-aged man, maybe you don't know what's happening, but there are fucking women who are waiting to have embryos transferred to them so they can become pregnant, cannot do that right now. I had to have not IVF, I couldn't get pregnant. I had to have fertility treatments. I cannot imagine at that time going through that. I didn't have to do IVF, but I damn sure had to have pills for ovulation. And it's all about the timing too. Like it's making me emotional because I know how they felt. I know how I felt every time I went to that doctor and I was not pregnant. Every time I went to that doctor and they had to check me to see if I was ovulating. And then they had to adjust the medication. And then when you're ovulating, you have to run home and you have to have sex. And it's a job now. So now you and your spouse or your mate, it feels weird, but you have to get through it because all you want at the end of the day is that baby. And for Alabama to take that away from those women it's unbelievable. It's unacceptable. And women need to wake up. And people like that man who said that we will go through the 4 years and come out on the other side. In 4 years, women will die. In 4 years, you know how many women will die from sepsis, from carrying dead babies? Do you know how many children will be forced to have children, rape men's children? Do you know how many kids are going to have to do that? In 4 years? Do you know how many mass murders there's going to be in 4 years? Go through the pain and come out on the other side? You fucking crazy? It's just simply insane. So Alabama, answer me this question. If those are babies, are we claiming them on our taxes? Is there a babysitter that's watching them in the frozen cryonic state that they're in? Who's paying for that storage? What are you talking about? Do they get fed? Can you get public assistance for them? What if the mother and the father divorce? What happens then? Do they fight over the embryos? Who gets the embryos? Does he have to pay child support for the embryos? What if one of the parents gets deported? Is the embryo an American, or do you send the embryo back to the country of the mom or the dad? You haven't thought this through. None of it makes sense. It's just, and let's just read this judge, right? Let's read what the fuck he said, one of the judges. Before we do that, let's talk about how this started. This started with 3 infertile couples whose embryos were destroyed because of negligence. Apparently, I don't know how this happened. This doesn't even make sense. Some patient got lost. How did he get in the embryo room, picked up one of the petri dishes, dropped it, and destroyed the embryos? So I understand the pain with that, right? I understand if those were your embryos that you had and you're paying for, because IVF is very expensive. I would be fucking pissed too. So I don't blame them for wanting to sue this hospital because, again, like I said, you go through so much with this, the medication. It's all about the timing and getting ready. Like, it's a fucking process, and it is a difficult process. So I understand wanting to bring a lawsuit, but in order to bring this lawsuit, they had to like bring it under like the wrongful death of a minor act. So if they allowed you to bring a lawsuit under the wrongful death of a minor act for embryos, they're like, there we go. Embryos of children. And that is how this started. And that is why they're calling now embryos children. But I just wanted to go back to what this judge actually wrote in his decision. He goes, it is the public policy of this state to recognize and support the sanctity of unborn life and the rights of unborn children. Unborn children. including the right to life. And then he started quoting Genesis. Man is created in the image of God, the prophet Jeremiah. And then there's another quote. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. This is nonsense, because here is a quote that I found is in the Constitution. This is in the Constitution. Shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Separation of church and state. This is why there is no 4 years and coming out the other side. It's beginning. Yeah, it's in front of our eyes. You can see it. You don't have to guess at what it would look like. This is real life. Everything. It started with Roe. We're kicking it back to the states. Oh, the states are going to do the right thing. They're not going to ban it permanently. Now it's banned permanently in a lot of these places. No, we're going to have rape and incest. Then it's not really rape and incest, because if you're raped or victim of incest, you got to have 2 proof of IDs. You got to go to the police immediately. You got to file a report. There's all of these hoops you have to jump to. So rape and incest is off the table, right? No abortion, no rape and incest, no IVF. Pretty soon it's not going to be birth control. Pretty soon you're not going to be able to get your tubes tied. Pretty soon you're not going to be able to have a hysterectomy, because that means you can't have any more children. So they'll probably cap it at a certain age. If you're 33, no, you can't have a hysterectomy until you're 40. They're going to start capping it. Fucking wake up. It's going to be national. It's not just going to be Alabama. We're not going to be okay until everyone in Alabama has the same rights as the people in Massachusetts, or the people in Vermont, or the people in Rhode Island. We have to fight for everyone, because if they're not okay, we're not going to be okay, because it's only a matter of time that we get to us. And Blacks for Trump, you're not exempt. You're not exempt. And I'm going to get back to you in one moment, because you're not exempt. Let me bring it down. I knew this was going to be emotional. Let me bring it down. Thank you, Brian. Bring it down for a minute. Okay, let's do some local news. This is emotional for me too. I knew this was going to be an emotional show. That IVF thing, just to the core, I know how those women feel. I know how I felt. I know how I felt every time I went to that doctor, and I wasn't being told that they weren't going to treat me anymore. I was just being told nope, didn't work. Nope, didn't work. Nope, you're not ovulating now. You have to start all over again. You have to start the cycle all over again. It's just the worst thing, and all you want is a baby. I mean, I'm 4 kids later, so I guess I don't have to cry about this, but I cry for these women. I really do. It's really bad. So in local news, Massachusetts is local news for me. The NAACP is demanding an investigation into a racially charged bullying incident at the Southwick, Mass. Western High School. Apparently, there's been a lot of racial bullying at this high school. One instance, which is the really bad instance, this Black high school girl there at the school found out that the white kids had set up a slave auction and put the few Black kids that go to the school on the slave auction, and they were there bidding on the Black kids and all of that stuff. I could swear something like this happened before, and I could swear it may have happened in Massachusetts too. What I wanted to say about this, let's do it like this. So that's an incident, right? This is this racial bullying in this Massachusetts school. And then this week there was also, and this is another sad thing. Next, Benedict was 18 out of Oklahoma, non-binary, just trying to live her life, just trying to, I don't want to say her life, their life, trying to live their life, just go to school, just be a teen, but bullies. Just gotta have the bullies, right? Just have to have the bullies. Apparently, these kids had been bullying Next for a while. Um, it seems like Next may have thrown water on them because that's what they said. There's not any excuse for what happened next, but they were mad at Next. Next jumped Next in the bathroom. Three kids stomped on her, beat. I keep saying her. I'm sorry. Stomped on them, beat them. Next went home. Well, I guess it was broken up after some time. I don't know. They said 2 minutes. That's probably not true. The school nurse checked Next out. Said that I don't know if said they should go to the hospital. Whatever the case is, Next's parents took them to the hospital. They were checked over, found that they were okay. They were sent home. The next day, Next got up and passed out and died the next day after the beating. The Oklahoma Police Department is saying preliminary reports are saying the trauma didn't kill Next. I don't know how you would know that, like preliminary autopsy. That preliminary autopsy to me means like you tested for drugs. How do you know that trauma did not kill Next? Did you, I mean, I don't want to be graphic, but you have to do an autopsy. Next could have had a brain bleed, and why the hospital would let a person go that had just been in a fight and jumped by three people in a bathroom where their head was being hit against a sink or a floor, why you wouldn't do like a CAT scan to make sure that there's no bleeding in the brain. So that's wild to me as well. So that happened too. So you have these two instances this week. I mean, it happens every day. So let's not be fooled. It wasn't just these two incidents, but I wanted to talk about these two because one, a kid was murdered, and then this other bullying, they're, putting her on a slave auction and bidding. Uh, this is parents. These are racist as parents, right? Because where are these kids getting it from? TikTok? Yeah, possibly. But you know what? If you're raised in a loving, open, diverse environment where your parents are accepting of everyone, you don't get this. This is a result of animal ass parents who raise animal ass children. So not only are you out here not vaccinating your kids, you're just raising animals because this is what animals do. It's like, I'm not going to be like, oh, no, they're just kids. It was just a fight. They didn't mean to. No, they did mean to hurt Next because Next was non binary. Next was the other. And this is the problem when you have people in the highest positions, not just lawmakers, you have celebrities, you have whatever the other MAGA crowd, because it's just MAGA, right? It's almost like it's the normal people who just fall into all other categories. You don't have to be a Democrat. You could be independent. You could just be nothing but be accepting. But then you have people who are non-accepting. And you better believe that the people that are non-accepting are probably MAGA, right? That's just how this is. It's like you have MAGA, and then you just have everyone else who just minds their business and just are okay. You have the freaking MAGA group. And this is where it comes from. It comes from starting to normalize making people the other. And that's that Christian thing too. It's so scary because once you start putting Christianity into our laws, or making laws and bills based on Christianity, which is your interpretation, right? The Bible is an interpretation. Once you start making laws like that, when was the last time that was happening? Slavery. That's when it was happening. This is when you were telling slaves, you a good Christian. This is what God would want from you. God would want you enslaved. God would want you whipped. God would want you raped. This is what they're doing. This is why they want a Christian nation. That's the end game, folks. That is the goal. No gays, no blacks, no browns, no natives, like just no migrants, no immigrants, none of it. And that's why I said, blacks for Trump. You okay with this? Are you okay with a little black girl at school being put on an auction block? You okay with this? Where do you think it's starting? You talk about blacks for Trump. You think Trump would be against this? They don't even want these things to be hate crimes. There is no hate crime in Oklahoma. So these children that killed next, we're going to just say that. I mean, unless they find some type of drugs in their system that killed next. But chances are, if they were jumped by 3 students in a bathroom with their head being banged up against a sink in the floor and walls and whatever else, I would suspect that is what killed them on the next day after they went to sleep, because maybe they had a concussion. So that 4-year thing is really bothering me. Like, we can wait 4 years of pain because we need to punish the Democrats and we'll get through it on the other side. How many of these things have to happen? Where are you living? Children are dying. It's not just our kids are dying. Our kids are dealing with some of the worst stuff ever. I was bullied as a kid. Most kids were bullied, right? Nothing like this. Our kids are committing suicide at high rates. Our kids just want to be, but if they keep being put in the other category, they're the other. No, use the bathroom of your birth. Trans is the others. Trans are molesters. Like, if they're hearing this, no, we don't want Black history. No, we don't want this. We don't want your books. Like, you're constantly being the other. Of course, other kids are going to treat them as such. They're not going to value the lives of the other because they're just the other. They're not lives. I'm running out of words. I'm just running out of words. Oh my God, I'm running out of words. 2 more. Oh my God, it's 9:12. 2 more real quick. On with the kids and again with the school. Daryl George has been out of regular classes because he's been disciplined and been going to like a disciplinary school for much of the school year. Why? Because the kid dared to have locks in his hair. He can't go to class with the regular kids because he's an in-house suspension because he won't cut his locks. So a court has just decided today, because they have the Crown Act now, and the Crown Act says you cannot you cannot discriminate against people for their hair. You can't say you can't have this job because I don't like your hairstyle, whatever. So the Texas judge said, nope, The Texas high school is not violating the Crown Act. It's the length of this kid's hair. No one is discriminating about his hair. The school is saying that the length of his hair makes him out of dress code. Question: how do we know the length of this kid's hair? Because and it changed a little too, because at first, initially, because this case has been going on for a while. Brian, you got to show me how to like put the little clips here, so I could have had pictures in the clips here, and I could just pull it up and you guys could see for yourself. First, they said your hair can't go below your brow. His hair didn't. His hair is in locks, but it's all pinned up. You don't know how long his hair is. It's just neatly pinned up, all braided back and pinned up. Nice hairline, everything. Pinned up. It's not down past the shoulders. It's pinned up. So you keep saying the length of this kid's hair. What is the length of his hair? We just assume, well, it's got to be long. Like, how are we? It's racist. Like, it just is. We can't even pussyfoot around this. It is what it is. It's like racist. I don't want to understand your culture. I don't give a fuck about your culture. This kid actually said, it's my roots. It's my root. I feel closer to my people. That's what he said. Because that is our culture. Locks, twist, froze, braids. It's our culture. Our hair defies gravity. We can put our hair straight up. We can have it down. We can have it straight. It's versatile. It is our culture. So to say you need to cut your hair, do you know that locks are religious for people from the Caribbean? It has religious attributes, and you're saying that you just need to cut it. Like, what are we talking about right now? It's unreal. And again, Blacks for Trump, pay attention. It will impact you. It will. These are just the beginning. These decisions like this is showing you of what the future is going to be. Lastly, speaking of what the future is going to be, I'm going to close out on what the future is going to be. Let's read off what's going to happen with the Donald Trump presidency, because they're announcing it to us with Project 25. It's their manifesto. So we're going to read it and then we're going to leave, and I'm going to let y'all sleep on that. Republicans plan 2, federal takeover of Democratic cities. They have started it, right? And pay attention. They're doing it in Mississippi. They've taken over what? Jackson? So that's not a pipe dream. It's what they want to do. Mass layoffs of civil servants. They have said it over and over and over again. Trump has said it. They are going to fire the people in the government and put in all Trump loyalists. Hey, Blacks for Trump, they will assume that you are a Democrat. You will get fired because Blacks are Democrats. So you're just going to get fired. They can't take no chances. So Black people will not have any civil jobs with the federal government because you're going to get fired. That's what you get, Blacks for Trump with Trump presidency. Let's see. Terminate the Constitution. He says it all the time. That's what they're doing. Embryos are children, and embryos are just running around making all this goddamn noise because they're embryos. And the judge quoted Genesis in his ruling. That's why they're going to terminate the Constitution. The fucking Bible is going to be their Constitution. Stop playing right now. DOJ is going to investigate their enemies, what they perceive as enemies. Yeah, of course, he's going to weaponize the DOJ. He tried to do that before, but Bill Barr wouldn't go too far. You know, he did the dirt, but there's some dirt. It was just too far for even Bill Barr. Mass deportations. Come on, y'all. Steve Miller's, he looks like a little rat, and he's ready. He's ready. Y'all thought it was bad when they were, did y'all forget? Separating children from their fucking families and not even keeping a database of where the kids went, who their parents were. They just separated them, put them in cages, shut them off. And Biden's administration has done a great job trying to get these reunite these children with their parents. But yeah, mass deportations, that's gonna happen. Blacks for Trump, any of y'all from the islands, because what y'all think, he may change his mind on y'all too. Just because you're from a freaking American colony don't mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything. If you're not from right here, yeah, Puerto Rico, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Trump knows that y'all are part of the U.S. You may be in danger too. He wants to bomb Mexico. Of course he does, because he said y'all a bunch of rapists. He Mexicans for Trump. He wants to bomb your family. Wake up. He wants to shoot migrants. That's a great one, right? Who doesn't? Of course, shoot migrants. Why wouldn't that be on your bucket list? He wants to electrify the wall. Again, it's a great idea, right? Why not? If you want to make them drown, you might as well, can electrify them. If they get past the water, if they don't drown with the razor wire to get to the wall, just have them electrocute. They're already wet. I mean, hey, Trump got it all figured out, y'all. It's right here. What else does he want to do? Oh, he wants to build a border with moats with snakes and alligators. I mean, if you don't drown from the razor wire, if you don't get electrocuted by the border wall, you're going to have some alligators and stuff waiting for you. I mean, that ain't a new thing. That's what they used to do to the black babies anyway. They used to throw them out to the alligators. Like, hey, just make America great again. Hey, let's see. Nationwide abortion ban. We know that. That's spreading like wildfire. They want to terminate the Department of Education. They do. They want pregnant youths gonna run the Department of Education. What? Y'all didn't know that? Frederick Douglass was all in with slavery, and all them skills y'all learned while you were enslaved, you can just parlay those and hand them down. I mean, come on. Come on. Yeah, that's gonna happen too. So when they change over the education, because Trump is going to now, take care of what your kids are going to be learning, they're going to call it the Patriot education. So your kids are going to be getting the Patriot education. And you're going to learn about all the slave owners and what wonderful people they were. And, the enslaved, there were animals before they were, enslaved. So they didn't hurt themselves and they were so dirty until master cleaned them up and saved them and gave them this wonderful life. Yeah, Patriot education. There it is right there. Let's see. Tent camps for the homeless. I mean, camps? I don't know. Something about that word, right? Camps. I don't know. Let's see. They want to build a large mental institution. I mean, what do they need that for? They're probably going to start doing lobotomies too, So what? Got a mental illness? You don't need any drugs. Just send them in there. Let's do some experiments on them. Yeah. Blacks for Trumps. That's probably where you're going to be. First, it was the Tuskegee experiments. They're building a nice mental institution for you. Let's see. Oh, they're going to require stop and frisk. Oh, Blacks for Trump. I don't know. So what's going to stop you from getting stopped and frisked? Again, you're not exempt. One more thing. Empower the police to shoot shoplifters. You can't make this up. I mean, go on the website. I just snatched it from the website and got some things. It's right there. And that's the plan. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. So if y'all want to sit around for 4 years and think we're going to be okay, we're just not going to be okay. We're not. So I would advise you not to sit around. I would advise you to get educated, because if you don't give a fuck about what happens with the Trump presidency. If you have children, if you have grandchildren, you should be very concerned because we're not going to be able to ride it out. This does not, we barely rode it out with the 4 years that we had. We're not going to ride it out this time. Brian, thank you for popping in. I will be back next week. I will. I'll be back next week. But check us out on Tuesday. I will be on YouTube on Tuesday at 8:00, the Black and White Show, and then come back on the following Thursday right here. Talk to you later. Bye, Ryan. Brian, thank you. See, this is when you know that you're tired and you got to go because your voice is going and you're forgetting stuff. So have a good night. Bye.